Major headline tonight, we have new reporting this evening on that daring U.S. raid in Syria that took down the world's most wanted terrorist, ISIS head Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, the man responsible for a ruthless campaign of torture and beheadings, including Americans.
Tonight, inside the final moments of the world's most wanted terrorist, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi's North Syrian compound, reduced to rubble by bombs and Hellfire missiles. And tonight, word of a separate operation over 100 miles away, an airstrike taking out al-Baghdadi's right-hand man, the ISIS spokesman. 5 p.m. Saturday night, on orders from the commander-in-chief, 8 Chinook helicopters, flying fast and low from Kurdish-controlled Iraq, arrive at al-Baghdadi's secret hideout in Syria, taking on and returning fire. Once on the ground, the Special Operations Forces blasting through a wall, the front door booby-trapped. Inside, they discovered their target, al-Baghdadi, fleeing with 3 children into a tunnel.
A tragic end to an idyllic morning of snorkelling.
One of the male patients was attacked first, and the shark is believed to return and come back and attack the second patient.
About 20 people were on the day trip in Hook Passage when the shark struck. 28-year-old Alistair Radden had his right foot severed. His 22-year-old friend Danny Maggs suffered deep cuts to his leg. The British backpackers were rushed the 30 kilometres back to shore to waiting ambulance crews. The tourists were conscious and remarkably in good spirits. The pair was treated at the scene before being airlifted to the Mackay Base Hospital, where they're in a serious but stable condition. The boat was operated by Zigzag Whitsundays, which issued a statement saying, "We are saddened to confirm the 2 of our guests were injured in a shark attack. Our thoughts are with them, their families and the other guests on the tour. We are working with authorities to assist in any way we can. We have suspended our tours for today and will work closely with authorities regarding our upcoming tours."
The family of Harry Dunn are now targeting the White House in the death of the 19-year-old in England. The family tells CBS News they are pursuing a civil suit against the Trump administration, as well as Anne Sacoolas. She is the wife of an American official and was involved in that car crash that killed Dunn.
Good morning. Well, it's a step Harry Dunn's family says they hope they would never have to take. Nearly 3 months after he was killed in a head-on collision that Anne Sacoolas admits to causing, they're suing not only her, but also the Trump administration. Sacoolas' immunity is, of course, an extremely complex issue, one that reached the highest levels of government here in the UK, and that led Harry Dunn's parents all the way to the White House, where they say they were shocked when President Trump asked them to meet with Anne Sacoolas, who was in an adjoining room. Now, they declined that meeting, saying they'd only meet with her in the UK and in the presence of counselors.
It's an unlikely setting for the final chapter of an international diplomatic crisis, but Darwin's waste dump holds an extraordinary secret beneath the surface. The shipping containers, similar to these ones, had arrived from the Royal Australian Air Force Base at Tyndall, near Katherine. Staff at the tip didn't know it at the time, but the Defence Department has now confirmed to the ABC that the aircraft inside those containers were 2 Russian-made military attack helicopters that controversially ended up at Tyndall more than 2 decades ago as part of what was known as the Sandline Affair, which made international headlines in 1997. A private UK military company called Sandline International had been contracted by the Papua New Guinea government to supply dozens of mercenaries and 2 Russian-made attack helicopters as part of a $36 million deal designed to quash a separatist uprising on Bougainville.
Our top story this evening, North Korea has rejected South Korea's proposal to hold working-level talks on the long-stalled Mount Geumgang tours. This comes a day after Seoul suggested discussing the tour program as a whole, hinting at a possible resumption of the tours. But Pyongyang limited the talking points to removing South Korean facilities from the site.
The North also reiterated that both sides communicate only through written exchanges.
North Korea has rejected South Korea's proposal to hold face-to-face working-level talks over the Mount Geumgang tours. On Tuesday, Seoul's Unification Ministry and the South Korean firm Hyundai Asan, the main operator of the tours, received a reply from Pyongyang through the Inter-Korea Liaison Office.
The North said there's no need to hold separate working-level talks on removing South Korean facilities and claimed that details can be agreed through written exchanges.
احنا طلعنا تلبية لنداء الشعب وتضامنا مع مطالب المتظاهرين السلميين ضد هذه الحكومة الفاسدة الفاشلة، الحكومة التي ميزت طبقات المجتمع العراقي، جعلت هنالك طبقة غنية وطبقة فقيرة في هذه المناطق الفقيرة. نحن مطالبنا لا نريد تعيين ولا نريد رواتب، كل شيء ما نريد من الحكومة الا تقديم استقالة الحكومة.
اليوم الشباب يطالبون ليس بتعيينات وما يطالبون بخدمات، لا، اليوم الشباب يطالبون بتغيير جذر حقيقي للسلطة. هذول الناس متمسكين بالسلطة صار 16 سنة.
An unspeakable tragedy after 4 days of agonizing wait. The body of 2-year-old Sujit Wilson, who fell into a bore well in Trichy in Tamil Nadu, was finally retrieved. The boy had passed away. He had fallen in on Friday evening and was retrieved this morning. His final last rites were conducted a short while ago, where his family has mourned the death of the toddler. They had been prepared for quite a few hours before the tragedy was finally made official. DMK chief MK Stalin visited the toddler's hometown in Manaparai and even paid his respects. Meanwhile, various tributes for Sujit Wilson are being held in various places across Tamil Nadu. The little boy's harrowing tale captured the imagination of people across the country, sparking prayers and events where people were literally praying for his rescue.
It's been more than 2 years since the devastating fire at Grenfell Tower in West London, which killed 72 people. Now, the long-awaited report into the disaster has been leaked to a British newspaper ahead of its final release later this week. The report is savage in its response of the London Fire Brigade, saying its preparation was gravely inadequate, and it suggests that many lives could have been saved if officers had identified sooner that the fire was out of control and the block was evacuated more quickly.
Well, this is a huge report, of course, 1,000 pages long, 2.5 years in the making, and it's in response to what was in fact the worst UK residential fire in modern history since the Second World War, in fact, and it's a damning report, particularly when it comes to the London Fire Brigade. It says fewer people would have died if the brigade had not suffered serious shortcomings and systemic failures in its response to the fire.
Hoy en Bogotá ganó el cambio. Ganó la decisión de desterrar la corrupción y el clientelismo de la política tradicional de Bogotá.